What is up guys, it is Michael and welcome back to the AFK Arena video. Today we're going over the wish list inside of AFK Arena. Now this guide will be for the early game players or for new players that are entering AFK Arena. So if you are new guys, we'll show you guys what to put inside your wish list for the hero slots for the 4 factions. When you're in the Noble Tavern guys, you actually want to press the top left to get into the wish list. Now some people don't know this, obviously new players might not understand where the wish list is guys, but it's actually this top left button right here which says wish list. You want to press that right there guys, and here is the wish list. Our wish list is a bit different to yours guys. This is what the end game wish list looks like guys. It's the heroes that you don't have to 5-star. Now basically you will get a majority of the heroes to 5-star guys. So let's say the Lightbearers here, all of my Lightbearer hero guys, they're basically all 5-stars, so you don't really need to put more heroes in there. Maybe you want to put a photo here like Morel, or you don't really need to do that. But guys, this is what the wish looks like. Now when it comes to the early game stages of AFK Arena guys, this is what you want to have in your Lightbearer slots. First slot guys, I actually want to put in Scarlet. Now Scarlet's actually one of the best early game characters inside of AFK Arena guys, one of the most efficient when it comes to the most usage inside of the game, when it comes to the PvP campaign tower, when it comes to all those aspects inside of AFK Arena guys, she will do well along with Rosaline guys. Now with Rosaline, she actually is used to early game from the end game, so now she's used in every single aspect of AFK Arena, and I highly recommend you pair these two in the team so then Scarlet can output the most damage as possible. Moving on, a solid choice for the early game is actually Estrada guys. Estrada is still used within the late to end game guys. She is an absolute staple when it comes to the front line, disrupting the enemy team guys, getting basically a tank value inside of the formation even though she is a warrior. But guys, she does act well, but there are better tanks when it comes to the early game inside of AFK Arena. But when you want to build for the future of your account, Estrada is a good hero at a very high investment when you go in late to the game. But just a copy of her with a higher level will do well within the tower, especially when you're new to AFK Arena. Over to the 4th slot within the Lightbearer hero guys is actually Rowan. Now Rowan is probably the best Lightbearer when it comes to the support inside the Lightbearer faction guys. He will be used in majority of formations in the early game, especially if you want to push the campaign formations. Now, the big thing with Rowan guys, you actually want to get Rowan to the plus 30 signature item to get the most value out of him. But once you get there guys, you will skyrocket through the campaign stages. Moving over to the final slot for the Lightbearers guys, you actually want to flexible around these heroes. Either you want to go with the tank in Lucius guys, or you want to go for another healer guys for the end game. You want to go with Palmer or another tanky unit, you want to go with Sandra. But guys, honestly, I'd reckon you go with either Lucius or Palmer, which is right here. But guys, for early game, you just want a decent tank guys, which you will find in Lucius. Now it's not used in the late to end game, sometimes not even used in the middle game, but Lucius is great within the early game formations. Now moving over to the Mauler heroes guys. Now this is probably one of the most hardest factions to build in AFK Arena. When it comes to the towers inside the Mauler faction guys, it is probably one of the hardest ones to push up, but the heroes you actually want to focus on within the Mauler heroes are actually going to be Tundra. Now Tundra is significantly crazy when it comes to the Mauler tower, when it comes to some certain formations, when we decide early game campaign formations, when it comes to the stages within there, some PvP aspects early on in the Arena heroes guys. She will honestly lock it down for you when it comes to the Mauler heroes. She is definitely an essential one to pick up, especially for the early game aspect of AFK Arena. Number 2 guys, it is going to be Sophia guys. An absolute underrated part about AFK Arena guys is the Mauler Sophia guys. She is honestly a staple when it comes to the early game guys. She with the big bomb, everything she does on the back line guys, she can absolutely take over a team within the campaign formation guys, make everyone stronger within the back line and in their own formation guys. She's an underrated pick within the Mauler heroes. Moving over to the 1st slot for the Mauler hero guys, we actually want to go with Brutus, the big boy himself, the immunity legend guys. When it comes to the early game, Brutus is an absolute staple tank when it comes inside of AFK Arena. His immunity factor makes him one of the strongest tanks inside of the early game guys. Now he isn't really utilized later inside of AFK Arena guys. If you have a single copy of Brutus guys, you will go far in some of the campaign formations, especially if you're versing Brutus guys. You just want to mirror Brutus versus Brutus and let the other heroes go ham while he just is beast in the front line. Over to the 4th slot, guys, you actually want to go ahead and put in Anasta. Now, Anasta is one of the best Mauler heroes when it comes inside of AFK Arena, as she is utilized in almost every aspect of the game, whether this is the early game, middle game, end game, or late game, guys. It doesn't matter where you're at in AFK Arena, Anasta will be used. Now, honestly, she's an underrated pick when it comes to the early game. She can carry you, especially when you get her signature item of her 99 furniture. Obviously, that comes in later, guys. Honestly, inside the early game, guys, you just want to focus on signature items, guys. That is probably the most vital things when it comes to heroes and to make them stronger. So I highly recommend you pick Anasta within the wish list for the Maulers. Moving over to the final slot, guys. Now, a lot of people like to be flexible within the final slot within the wish list, guys. Now, you might want to go with Salakar, you want to go with Cracio, but obviously, guys, maybe even Skreg or even Warwick, maybe even Drez as well. But my pick is actually going to be Kren. Now, Kren is honestly an underrated pick inside of AFK Arena. His damage is absolutely crazy for a Mauler hero. His aspect about being the backline, guys, it can really disrupt the enemy team's formation. And honestly, he can be used in a lot of games with PvP, with the campaign, the Mauler Tower, obviously, guys. He's an absolute beast when it comes to the damage within the Mauler Towers. Now, you want to build him a bit higher with a signature item, obviously, so you can do the most damage possible. But obviously, when you go middle to end game, guys, you have these characters built to the highest potential. So obviously, they will do a lot of damage. But Kren is an amazing pick for the Mauler Tower, guys. I highly recommend you put him in the final slot. Moving over to the Wilder heroes, guys. Now, in the wish list for the Wilders, you actually want to start off with Saurus. Guys, Saurus is probably one of the best Wilders inside the early game side of AFK Arena. He's still used in the later games for guild bosses and within the Abyssal Expedition as well, guys. He is utilized also, along with other heroes mentioned within the wishlist, guys. Some of these heroes will help you within further inside of AFK Arena, so keep that in mind. But Saurus is an absolute beast when it comes to the early game side, and he is 100% the number 1 pick inside of your Wilders wishlist. Moving to number 2 of the slot, guys, you want to put an absolute legend, Na'Vi, guys. Now, Na'Vi is probably the best healer when it comes inside of AFK Arena. When it comes to a utility, guys, she is still used within the late to end game. She's used in PvP, she's used in campaign, she's used in the tower. It's obviously utilized in a lot of parts of AFK Arena, which is why you want to put her in the 2nd slot of the Wilder hero wish list. Moving over to number 3, guys, is going to be Leica. Trusty Leica, 100%, is probably one of my favorite heroes inside of AFK Arena. So you want to make sure you have her in the early game, guys. She's going to help you in a lot of formations. Jump out heroes, absolutely dominate with the damage. Obviously, can heal out heroes as well. She's absolutely crazy with her consistency inside the early game, guys. And I highly recommend you go for her within the Wilder heroes. Then moving on to the 4th slot, guys, we are going to go with Iron, guys. Now, Iron is probably one of the best damage dealers when it comes to the Wilder faction. Now, he's obviously going to be a consistent role, guys. Honestly, do the damage and get out of there, guys. That's basically his role. You pair him with Leica, you pair him with Na'Vi. A lot of Wilders around him, guys, that can pair together, that can heal each other. Obviously, Aaron will go to work, and this is why in the final slot, guys, you actually want to choose Mishka. Now, Mishka is probably one of the best heroes when it comes to the Wilders, guys. Her consistency has been reigned true. Now, her E60, when you get down the line in AFK Arena, when you go to the middle to late game, guys, you actually want to build it to E60, one of the highest priority heroes to engrave first. Now, obviously, that's going to be in a later video, guys. We'll go over the engravings for players that don't know what to use their resourcing maps when it comes to engravings, but we'll get to that, guys. But Mishka is a great choice for the final slot here, guys. Her unique ability, guys, with the bear, absolutely amazing. I absolutely love Mishka in AFK Arena, one of my favorites, guys, and I highly recommend you build her for the early game. Moving over to probably the most strongest faction inside of AFK Arena, the Graveborn heroes, guys. Now, obviously, for number 1, guys, you want to go with Daemon. Now, Daemon is probably the best hero when it comes to the early game inside of AFK Arena. Daemon can literally carry your whole team to victory, guys. He is an absolute beast when it comes to the Graveborn hero, guys, and I highly recommend you build him as high as you can when it comes to the early game formations, especially inside the campaign stages. 2 slot, guys, I'm actually going to go with Pharrell. Now, Pharrell's actually an underrated hero when it comes inside the early game of AFK Arena. Obviously, slows down in the later parts of the game, but his utility, guys, his damage that he can provide on the field is absolutely crazy for being honestly utilized in the back line, maybe the back middle. The longer he survives in the formation, the higher damage he will do, guys. And honestly, it's under part of Pharrell. The higher you have him, obviously, the higher he will perform. But, guys, the 2nd slot of the Graveborn is a great choice for Pharrell. Moving over to the first slot, guys. Probably one of the best Graveborn heroes inside of AFK Arena, and that is going to be Grezel, guys. Now, like Mishka, guys, Grezel is a high priority for the E60 engraving. Now, obviously, this will be in another topic in another video, but Grezel is probably one of the best tanks inside of AFK Arena when it comes to summons, guys. He has a unique ability of summoning a lot of guards that can honestly stack up in damage and make the formation hard to take down. Now, obviously, he is greatly paired with Alna, but guys, don't worry about the cell hypos within the early game, guys. You will get them eventually with the stargazing room. But guys, focusing on Grezel, building him up now will greatly help you within your future inside of AFK Arena. Now, guys, it's actually a controversial pick, but Shimira is actually a pretty decent pick when it comes to the early game AFK Arena. Now, obviously, I actually highly recommend you build her high enough so you can swap her later inside of the game. Now, a lot of people might protest that and say, nah, Shimira is one of the best early game heroes in the game, and you're not wrong. She is an absolute beast when it comes inside of the early game AFK Arena, but the only problem with Shimira is that she isn't really utilized after the early game. Now, she is inside the middle game, guys, but then she really falls off within the late to end game, which is worrying, because if you spend all your resources on one hero, guys, she will be useless, especially if you're not building the right ones. But in my opinion, guys, if you have Shimira high, don't worry about it. You can swap it for another hero. Now, I'll get to that in another video, guys. If you're new to my channel, guys, I actually have a Discord, so you can actually join there and ask any question about AFK Arena. So if you want to ask about swapping Shimira to maybe Mishka or another hero, guys, let me know inside the Discord. I'm happy to answer all your questions. But guys, Shimira is a great option for number 4. Moving over to the final slot, guys. Now, we need another support, and probably it's going to be Silas. Now, Silas is probably one of the best supports inside of AFK Arena. His unique ability, guys, just absolutely injecting people with health, guys. It's honestly unique and probably one of my favorite heroes inside of the game. When he first came out, guys, honestly, he was such a cool design, such a cool hero. Amazing abilities and skills. Honestly, a staple when it comes to the Graveborn heroes as a support. Silas is definitely 100% a great option for number 5. So that will do it for the early game wishlist guide for AFK Arena. If you want to ask me any questions regarding AFK Arena, my Discord server is linked in the description, and there is a channel in there called Questions, and you may ask me any questions regarding AFK Arena, as me or a mod will get back to you as soon as possible. Now, just a quick thank you for 90 subscribers, guys, which is absolutely crazy. I'm honestly so amazed by the support for the channel. You have all really motivated me to keep going with the game when it comes to creating content for it. And also, I can't thank you enough, guys. I'm honestly speechless. Now, for 100 subscribers, if we do manage to hit it, I might do a little giveaway to show my appreciation back to you guys. Now, be on the lookout for that. Now, let me know if I should do one in the comments below, guys. If maybe you want a gift card, or just something else, guys. Let me know in the comments below and what I should do to celebrate 100 subscribers. And on top of that, guys, we might do our first ever live stream at 100 subscribers just to show our feedback, guys. Answer questions live on YouTube. Now, obviously, it'll be on YouTube, guys, not on any other platform. And we will see, guys, if you guys have any questions, let me know within the live stream. And we might actually plan that if we do hit 100 subscribers. As always, guys, we will see what the future holds. And again, guys, thank you so much. Let me know below your thoughts on the early game wishlist guide, and I'll see you all in the next one.